To NOLA Catholic Parenting Podcast. This is Christine Bordelon, Associate Editor of the Clarion Herald. With the opening of school approaching quickly, I thought we'd discuss some events that help parents get their students and their children ready for school this year. So I know the Daughters of Charity have offering vaccinations at 10 locations, and there's a 5th annual NOLA Back to School Fest at Xavier. And the Hispanic Apostolate is also doing a drive-by backpack giveaway July 24th from 10 to noon. And it's for the kids who are in kindergarten through the 6th grade. And there's also a job fair for adults. So today I thought I'd invite Dominican Father Sergio Serrano, Director of the Hispanic Apostolate, and also President and CEO of DePaul, Ascension DePaul Community Health Centers, Michael Griffin, to discuss vaccination opportunities and also the importance and safety of vaccination. So good morning, Father Sergio, and good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
How y'all doing
Thank you
today?
for inviting us.
Doing well.
Well, Father Sergio, I first wanted to get to you and talk about those 2 big events that are happening this weekend at the Hispanic Apostolate.
Yes, thank you, Christine. First of all, we have a day on Friday that is designated to find jobs for many people. We receive constant calls from companies and from people, some people who are working and looking for better jobs, or who are not working and looking for employment, and some employers who are looking for workers. So with the Chamber of Commerce, we decided to put this day together. We do it once or twice a year, and it's gonna be Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So everybody who has a company is welcome to come and let us know that you need employees, or if you're looking for a better job, come on Friday. And also on Saturday, for the last 9 years, we have been doing back to school, which is putting together the kids for the school kids from kindergarten to 6th grade. They always receive the same. So we are gonna have 500 kids this time. And I am happy to tell the community that since we have been doing it at the Hispanic Apostolate, many other organizations have been doing it around Kenner and the metro area. So it's always good to set an example and allow others to follow.
So a lot of kids I know come out to that backpack event. Does it last the entire time, or those backpacks go fast?
They really go fast, because what is the condition? That the kid will be there. In the years past, they have to visit all the sponsors, and it took a little bit longer, and we have the fire department, and we have different institutions that came to give information to parents and to school kids. This year is a drive-through, so the car is gonna come. We count the number of kids who come in the car, we put the number of backpacks in their car, and they move on. We will have 4 different stations, so that is going to be a really fast transition. And normally we get done in an hour, and 1 hour and 30 minutes is all over.
Wow, that is fast. I know I've come out there and taken some pictures in past years. But I also saw an announcement of your gala that's coming up in September. And the gala is one of those events that you hold that help sponsor, the money goes to sponsoring some of the backpack initiatives and other things that you do at the apostolate, right?
Well, the good news is that now the backpacks are donated to us by Blue Cross Shield. We used to fundraise for that. We used to have 2 galas a year. The gala that is going to be September the 24th is a scholarship, which I don't call a scholarship, it's a financial aid tuition for school kids. Those Hispanic kids who are in Catholic schools, sometimes their parents have problems, they cannot pay the tuition. So we collect all this money, and the Catholic schools, they send a letter to us in May or in November saying to us, we have this number of Hispanic kids who are behind with their tuition. According to how much money we have received during the year, and especially for this gala, we divide that money and send it to the schools that the kids will continue receiving the Catholic educations. We need to support our schools, our Catholic schools, and also we need to support the Hispanic kids who are trying to make it in those beautiful and wonderful schools.
Okay, let's talk to you a little bit about the vaccines and vaccinations for children, because I know there's a resurgence right now of COVID due to that new strain, and vaccinations are on everybody's mind. Should they vaccinate their kids? Should they not vaccinate their kids? So I wanted to know, I learned that DePaul was actually vaccinating kids at the Hispanic Apostolate, and you've done several events there. Do you have any idea about how many Hispanic people have been vaccinated at the apostolate through DePaul?
Yes, ma'am, and thank you for having me. It's been several thousand that have been vaccinated, adults and children. And as you know, right now we are providing the Pfizer vaccine, which goes to the age of eligibility is to the age of 12 years of age. And so we're kind of saying get the vaccines to teens is where we're focused. Especially trying to get kids back into school safely. You do see the resurgence, the Delta strand of COVID-19 that's happening. And I can tell you, a living experience, I have 5 school-age children, that last year was very tough. One person tests positive in a class, and the entire class goes home and has to get tested. And so we want to make sure that we can, these kids, school-age kids that are eligible are vaccinated. We've done over 25,000 vaccinations throughout the community.
That's phenomenal.
We're having community events as well as working with schools to go back to school and doing vaccinations for when they do their registration. So we're working with all organizations to try to get vaccines in to as many as we can.
Well, I know you talked a little bit about, when one child gets COVID in a classroom, they all have to go home and learn from home. So tell me how important it is for kids to get vaccinated.
It's very important. I can tell you, and again, I've witnessed it myself, it is very disruptive to transition to online learning during the middle of a school week. The kids, last year, as you know, most of the schools started online. Kids missed their friends and so many other. It's very distracting, especially if you have multiple kids in a household. It was an interesting thing. Our entire school knew. I have 4 daughters at one school, and they all knew that all 4 of them were in this big living room, all on their computers, and had headsets on, listening to their teachers, all in the same room. It was an interesting dynamic that the entire school knew. And so it's hard and it's distracting. And it's always better to have the kids together with their teachers in the same place. And so that's just very important. I think getting vaccinated will help in keeping down, again, those positive tests or getting COVID. The other part is, and let's say someone does get COVID, if they're vaccinated, and we're seeing this right now, people who have been vaccinated still getting COVID, but their reaction to the virus is much better and healthier. They don't get as sick or very sick at all. And we want to avoid being sick and getting hospitalized. So vaccinations are very, very important.
Some parents maybe don't understand why vaccinations are necessary, and they're worried possibly about the safety because it was developed so fast. So in your experience, what you guys have seen at DePaul Community Health Centers, how safe is this vaccine?
We found them to be, the vaccines have been very safe. We have had very little, if any, reaction to the vaccines when it came out. And I'll just tell you, I was one of the first to get the vaccine, leading our charge with all of our healthcare workers. And we have had relatively zero reactions to the vaccines that individuals have received. And so I think the technology and the work that the companies that develop these vaccines have done in the vaccination space and developing these for flu and other vaccines over the years is very well developed. And so even though this strand is new, you do have to realize that the concept of vaccines and COVID-19 is one strand, but there have been COVID viruses out there for years. And vaccines have been developed, and this technology has been used over years. So it's not really this is a new vaccine for this strand, but the work that they've done has been around for so many years, and it's very safe.
Well, that's good to know. I didn't realize that. So they didn't really start from scratch to develop vaccine. They've already been doing it, but just to specifically take care of the strain that came out last year. And now I guess fixing it a little more to deal with this new Delta strand that you were talking about. So how many locations does DePaul Community Health Centers have to get the vaccination?
Well, you can get vaccinated at all 10 of our locations. Now, we have vaccines that are given out at the sites. It is good to call for an appointment for that because the Pfizer vaccine has to get thawed out. So it's frozen, and it takes about 20 minutes to thaw that out. So I tell people if you're coming intentionally to get vaccinated, call and make that appointment. But we also, and I can give you the number for our vaccine line, but we have community events as well. We've been going to Xavier University for the past 2 months every Friday and having a vaccine community-wide event from 8 to 6 o'clock every Friday at that location. That continues. We also have been working with different churches. We've been working with the Hispanic Apostolate. We've been working with schools as well. And we're going to be gearing that up. So we're working with some of the charter schools and some other, as they continue to do their back to school enrollment. And I think they have consents that parents are signing and back to school backpacks as well. We're working with some of those schools to do the vaccines. But all 10 of our locations, you can receive a vaccine. The number is 207-1080. That's 207-1080. That's our vaccine line, and you can call and schedule a vaccination.
And it's a 504 area code, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And it is free, isn't it?
Yes, it is free. Yes.
Okay, great. Now, where you go. Well, Lizeth, I see that you joined us. And so I just wanted to ask you real quick about the events at the Hispanic Apostolate and how important it is to have this outreach to the Hispanic community.
It's very important, and especially for the Hispanic community, that they need to have this more available. And being at the Hispanic Apostolate is very important because people come and a lot of the people that come there don't speak the language. And fortunately enough, myself as a volunteer has been one of the plus to help these people to get this vaccination and have them to come in numbers of numbers of people that are wanted to have the vaccination, but they didn't know where to go. And coming and all these events that have been at the Hispanic Apostolate has been a plus for the community.
Well, you act as an interpreter much of the time when they have the vaccination for some other events. Is that correct?
That's right. And as far as the vaccination it is, I have been able to help as well as the people who are working there, as well as the people who I wanted to get their vaccination. And it's for me a great pleasure because that's one of my plus that I want to give to the community, as well as help the Hispanic community and being part of this wonderful organization that is the Hispanic Apostolate.
Well, Father Sergio, you were telling me a little bit about a nun with DePaul that also acts as an interpreter. She represents, I wanted to ask, tell me her name and how she helps out at these vaccination events.
Sister Irma is a member of the DePaul Community Center. She is the one who always calls, and she is a wonderful advocate for the DePaul community and for the Hispanics. She's originally from Texas, and she has been so good trying to help the communication between patients and the nurses And the staff, she is awesome, and I am very grateful to her and to the other sisters who have come, and to the staff from DePaul. I have to say that I was vaccinated by DePaul early this year, and the service is fantastic. We have different organizations who came to the Hispanic Apostolate, but it's not because you, Mark, are here in the program, but I have to say you have been the most organized and the most welcoming to all those who come to the Hispanic Apostolate seeking vaccination.
Right. Well, Father Sergio, I wanted to ask you another question, because we're talking about the health of people in your community, but I also wanted to talk a little bit about the spiritual health of Hispanic families. I know you guys have so many things over there that you do. So I wanted you to tell me just about a few of them, and then quickly tell me about these retreats in Spanish that you're going to have for men, separately for men and women, in September and October. That's going to be at Camp Abbey.
Yes, the Hispanic Apostolate exists as a branch of the Archdiocese of New Orleans to do the support to the Hispanics, mainly for the spiritual and material needs. Is why we have a food pantry, we have vaccinations, we have a school events, but mainly what we want to do is to help people who need to fill their lives with God. Is why we have catechism classes. We are the only place in town that has a Spanish Mass from Monday to Friday at 6 p.m. We have all kind of classes for adults, for children, for teenagers. During the pandemic, we never closed. We were doing broadcasting 6 a.m., 9 a.m., midday, 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m. We were having vespers, midday prayer, rosary, mass, evening prayer. And we still do that at the local site, which is in 2525 Main Avenue. And we have retreats which were given online. We have training for Eucharistic ministers, for lectors, and now we want to come back and have one-to-one events. The classes will restart in August, first week of August. And also we have a retreat for men coming up September 10 to the 12th in Camp Abbey. Is Emmaus retreat, and also for women in October 29 to 31st. They will begin on Friday and they will end on Sunday. There are 3 days of reflection. We are asking people to get vaccinated as possible, to wear masks and to keep safe distance. But we will have to come back to the normal with all the safety and precautions that are needed and required by the government and by the church.
Right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with me. But before I leave, I know you mentioned the address of the Hispanic Apostolate. I wanted to tell people how they can get in touch with both the Hispanic Apostolate and DePaul. So the Hispanic Apostolate is 2525 Main. It's right behind the Home Depot on Veterans and Roosevelt in Metairie. And the number you can reach them is 504-467-2550. And then DePaul, Michael, you were mentioning the 10 locations. The easiest way to find them is to go online at www.depaulcommunityhealthcenters.org. So thank you all for joining us today, and stay tuned for the next NOLA Catholic Parenting podcast. In the meantime, you could read our NOLA Catholic Parenting columns in our printed Clarion that you can get at Mass or at a bunch of retail outlets. And you can go online and go to clarionherald.org, or 3 times a week and go and look at our blogs. We have 3 blogs a week at nolacatholicparenting.org. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.